But first, last night, special counsel John Durham dropped his second bombshell in just the last 2 weeks. He issued subpoenas to one of the most politically connected law firms in the country. It's called Perkins Coie. Now, in 2016, that law firm represented the DNC and the Clinton campaign, who then, of course, used the firm to funnel money to former British spy Christopher Steele. Now, Steele, in turn, used the funds to finance his phony dossier on then-candidate Donald Trump. Now, this comes just 2 weeks, by the way, this subpoena, after the federal grand jury indicted former Perkins Coie lawyer Michael Sussman for lying to the FBI during a 2016 meeting that helped spark the Trump-Russia probe. Now, we're not sure why it's taken Durham this long to do this, but we may finally be close to learning just how far the Clintons and their allies went in all their efforts to destroy Donald Trump, his campaign, and his presidency. And when the truth finally comes out, we'll also see how invested the deep state was in deep-sixing Trump. Their goal was to frustrate the Trump agenda and put him on the defensive from day one. And as we all remember, the main villains here were aided and abetted by a corrupt left-wing media complex that fanned the fraudulent Russian collusion accusations for years. By the way, remember, none of those media folks decided to resign after their role in all of this. There were no mea culpas, and as far as I can tell, there's been no accountability. Sound familiar? Sounds like just what's happening at the Biden Pentagon. And when the Durham subpoena news did break, Hillary's collaborators in the press, they kind of just decided to downplay it or just ignore it entirely. So last night, ABC and CBS fawned over Biden's moves to save his mega spending bill and also to keep our borders wide open. And the Durham probe didn't make NBC nightly news either, but, well, they did find time to do a very important feature on the lineup for the Super Bowl halftime show. But come on, it's understandable. Eminem, Snoop Dogg over here versus boring old Durham and Perkins Coie over there. Maybe it's time to strike the whole word news from NBC Nightly News at this point. More like NBC Nightly Distraction. Of course, the news blackout extended to MSNBC, which spent years dining out on the twisted Russian conspiracies.
Donald Trump was trying to do business with Russia, and then 6 months later, Russia's trying to help the Trump campaign. It's not very complicated.
This is not how presidents behave. It's a dark moment in American history today.
Eric Lischblau of the New York Times calls Alfa Bank's lobbyists in Washington. 48 hours later, the Trump domain vanishes from the internet.
And one thing if the Alpha side of it disappeared. Yeah. They called Alpha and the Trump side disappeared.
Okay, but surely CNN gave the Durham developments their due.
It seems like he's not delivering that big fish that former President Trump and Attorney General Bill Barr promised.
Right, exactly. After 2.5 years or so, there's only been these 2 indictments, and they, frankly, have been very thin.
Now, what's really thinnest here is their credibility and objectivity. It's non-existent. Wolf Blitzer even trotted out one of the slimiest guys in this ongoing drama, former FBI Director Andrew McCabe.
Is this the action of a special counsel who, after, once again, 2 years of investigating, has found essentially not much, at least not yet?
Well, that's absolutely right. There's really very little here relevant to what he supposedly was hired to investigate. The recent indictment and these subpoenas really hold the FBI more in the position of victim rather than subject of an investigation.
The spin just never ends. Just remember, Andy's always going to play the victim, though. So the FBI, our intel agencies, the media, and dishonest Democrats, they did incalculable harm to the office of the presidency and the people's faith in these institutions. And none of the guilty parties in this saga, not the press, the DOJ, certainly not the intel community, have learned anything over the last few years. Since we discovered that the Russia probe was a fraud from the outset, they've just moved on to targeting innocent Americans who oppose the Biden agenda, while dismissing Biden's conflicts of interest on China and his general incompetence in managing the affairs of our nation. It's a complete and ongoing disservice to the hardworking people of America who deserve to know the truth about the lengths to which our own government and media will go to take and keep power.